three-time Pro Bowler, an NFL Hall of Famer, former Bronco, a guy who played bigger than his name, the franchise, Floyd Little. How you doing, Floyd?
Well, I got to correct you. It's 5-time Pro Bowler, not 3. Everybody got that 3, and it's 5. So I've always had to correct people for getting the wrong information.
Okay, 5 times. Well, David was
he
was never very good at math. You'll have to pardon him.
That's all right.
And reading. That's why he became a lawyer.
So, exactly.
Floyd, how thrilled were you last year going into that Hall of Fame? Was that the happiest moment of your life?
Well, I got to tell you that being a Hall of Famer with so many guys that I've watched and admire over the years, and now I'm one of them, and going in with Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice and John Randall and Ricky Jackson and Russ Graham and all of the other guys that went in with me, I think that's just fantastic. I'm just thrilled. That was the highlight of my sports career.
Now, David and I were just talking about Sam Huff, and Sam Huff saying how players today, a lot of them don't know who he was. Do a lot of them know who you are or were?
I think the Sports Illustrated article a year ago really let people know who I am and where I've been. But they are a lot more today since I'm a Hall of Famer than it was prior to being a Hall of Famer. Yeah, there's a lot more people recognize me. I think because of the speech that I gave in Canton a year or so ago, they think that was the best speech ever. In fact, Walter Payton's mother said to me at a function, I've never heard a greater speech in my life. So I think the speech has helped me become more recognizable.
You wrote it yourself, I will assume. How long did it take?
Well, my son and I celebrate his life. He was injured in college and lost his leg, and we celebrate his life every year. And it took us about an hour around the pool for me to write it, and he edited it, and I wrote it, rewrote it, and he edited it, and we put it all together because we only had 6 to 8 minutes to give a speech. So I got to talk about my whole life as an athlete and a person, and I had 8 minutes to do it. So we had to really put all of the things we needed to put in it to make it really effective.
How did your son lose his leg?
He was going to the store. He went to the USC. He was on campus, and he went to the local store to get some luncheon meat and some bread, and 2 guys tried to rob him. And they asked for $100, and all he had was 2. And they said he needed 100. They're going to shoot him. And he says, well, I guess you have to shoot me. So they shot him close range with a shotgun, and on the way to the hospital, he flatlined twice, and they brought him back. So that's why it was so special for me to have him there with me during a time when he had, 1987, he had flatlined on the way to the hospital. So for me to have him there with me to celebrate the highest award in my life as an athlete, it was very special.
Yeah, real life sort of puts in perspective this world of athletics that we talk about a lot, and the highs and the lows of a football game, a football team, a season, and you have to understand that the people playing those games have parents, have children, have siblings, have lives, and how did football teach you anything on how to deal with a situation like that?
Well, the thing about football is when you're told as a young child and a young adult that you're not big enough, strong enough, smart enough, or fast enough, I think you build a resentment in you that allows you to rise above. Because when you're always been told or always been given challenges all your life, I think it does help you become a better person because you know yourself that you are the only person can say when you had enough. Nobody can tap you out. You have to tap out yourself. No one can tell you what you can do. But our problem is too many of us allow someone else's opinion or label of us to become our reality. So when people are told enough times that they can't, they start believing it. But me, I didn't believe it. I believed that let me fail me. Don't you fail me before I get an opportunity to fail. I want to be able to fail myself. And you telling me I can't do stuff without me even trying, not fair. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm going to try it. And then I can actually say I couldn't do it. But let me say that. Don't say it for me. So, yeah, football has taught me a lot by not believing what people think of you and you going out there and establish who you are, what you are, and rise to levels where nobody think you can rise to. And that's a part of football that's taught me about life, is that no one can tell me the level of success that I can reach. That's my call, and I'm not going to let you take that away from me.
How did you get the nickname the franchise?
Well, I saved the franchise because the Broncos was on the verge of being moved to Chicago or Birmingham because they had never signed a number one draft pick. They drafted the Butkuses and the Sears of the world, but they went to the NFL, not the AFL. The AFL was an early, new, struggling franchise in the 60s. They started in 67. They hadn't signed anybody. And the leagues merged, and the Broncos signed me, which the Broncos decided to stay and build a new stadium. So I saved the franchise from moving to Chicago or Birmingham. So that's how I got the name, the franchise.
How'd you end up at Syracuse? How come you didn't end up at Penn State or someplace like that?
Well, I had 47 scholarships. I was recruited by General MacArthur in New York City with all of the famous Yankees, Elston Howard, Roy Campanella, and so many other great players, and got a chance to meet a great general in his room in New York City at the Waldorf. And he gave me an opportunity to get the Army, got me an appointment by Senator Humphreys before he became vice president. And I was heading for Army. He told me I'd be the first African-American general in the United States Army. That means I would have been Colin Powell's boss, General Petraeus' boss, Norman Schwarzkopf's boss. I would have been a real top-level general during that time if I had gone to Army. But a guy named Ernie Davis, in his 50th year of winning the Heisman Trophy this year, came to my house, sat with me and my sisters and my mom, and we went out to dinner. And I told him, that I'd go to Syracuse because I wanted to eat my steak and lobster because it was getting cold. And 3 months later, he died. And I'd given him my word, and I don't have anything more valuable than that. So when I give you my word, that's the only thing of value that I own. That's the highest thing of value that I own is my word. So when Ernie Davis passed away, and I never even knew he was sick, I called the coach and told him I was coming to Syracuse because I had given Ernie Davis my word. That's how I got to Syracuse.
Okay, that was Ben Schwartzwalder, right?
That was Ben. Okay. You're correct.
And you were the third in the line of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis,
Jim Nance.
Well, yeah, Jim was here. I played with Jim and Zonk. I had two good fullbacks to play with. But yeah, Ernie Davis was recruited by Jim Brown, and Ernie Davis recruited me. And that's the trilogy. That's the three 44s. Of course, we had some other ones after us, one being Rob Conrad, who played for the Miami Dolphins, was number 44 here, as well as Michael Owens, Billy Owens' brother. But we've had some other 44s after me, but the Jim Brown and Ernie and me are the real 44s.
Yeah, that's the Mount Rushmore of Syracuse football, certainly.
They haven't retired the number 44 yet?
Yeah, they retired it 5 years ago at Thanksgiving, and since then they retired Zonka's number as well as John Mackey's number. But ours, they couldn't retire theirs until they retired ours, so they retired the number 44 5 years ago.
Okay. And then you also have your Broncos number retired as well.
Yeah, Broncos number retired, high school number retired, military school number retired. All the numbers that I've ever worn have been retired.
Okay. So are you retired?
Well, I was until Syracuse University called me up and says, we need you. I've been an ambassador for Syracuse University for 35 years, and they called me up early this year and said, Floyd, we had one of our guys leave to go to San Francisco as an AD, and there's an opportunity for you to come back and do what you've been doing for 35 years, work with us in our athletic department with all of our athletes, and we'd like for you to be a part of that. So I says, okay, I'll come out of retirement, and it's been the greatest decision I've ever made other than coming to Syracuse, coming back to be a part of this university and its athletes, and I'm just enjoying it every day, ever since July. I get up every morning with a big smile on my face. I'm going to Syracuse, and I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to talk to some people, hoping that I can make a difference in their lives.
So did you miss the winters in Syracuse? Was that the deciding factor?
I'll tell you what, I don't plan to be here when the snow comes. I'll tell you that. I couldn't wait to get out of here when the snow came. But no, I think I can handle it now. I got places to go. when it's too bad, but it's not that really not that bad. But as a student here at Syracuse University, it snowed, and that's to be expected. I'm from Connecticut, and I'm used to the snow, but I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
We've interviewed 65 NFL Hall of Famers, and most of them say the best player of all time is Jim Brown. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, he's an icon in the game. He was way before his time. He did some things as a player that nobody has done and continues to do. That's the reason why his numbers are so high playing in a 12-game schedule. It took players a long time to carry the ball twice as many times and play in almost twice as many games just to catch him. So, yeah, he's a great player. He's a good friend of mine, and he truly deserves to be a Hall of Famer and the best football player that's ever played. No question in my mind.
Okay. What do you make of the situation with the Broncos at quarterback with Tim Tebow and being the people's choice, and now I guess he's the coach's choice as well?
Well, I've said it when they drafted him. This guy is won at every level. I mean, he's a Heisman winner. He's a national champion. He's a player that makes things happen. There's three kinds of people in the world: those that make them happen, watch them happen, and don't know what happened. And Tim Tebow has always made things happen. I said it from the beginning. This is a guy that they drafted. They should let him play. They talk about mechanics. Mechanics don't play the game. People play. The hell with his mechanics. They keep talking about, well, he can't do. That's a bunch of crap. Let him play. I've not seen any left-handed quarterbacks in the National Football League that didn't do well.
Why is that?
This is a guy.
Why do left-handed quarterbacks do well?
Because we are all geared to go right hand, the right side. So we are not geared for a left-handed quarterback in many, many cases. And you just watch them all, from Kenny Stabler to Steve Young to Michael Van, any of them. They all do well. And here's a left-handed quarterback with some skills. They put him in at the end of the game against San Diego. He almost pulled it out. The guy don't drop the pass. They beat him.
Do you think part of the problem is his political views, and he's like the all-American boy, and people just want to see him fail?
Well, no, I don't think they want to see him fail. I think they want to give him a chance to fail. Just like I said earlier, give him a chance to fail himself. Don't everybody fail him before he gets on the field. I saw his first game at the Broncos. If they don't drop two of his passes, he won his first game through an exhibition. But they all talk about his mechanics. His mechanics, his ball's too low. He get it up. Hey, let him out there. He'll figure it out. If he's not getting the ball off fast enough, he'll figure it out. Don't change what he does that made him successful. Just let him figure it out. Let him play. Then at the end of the day, now you can say he's no good. Can't say he's no good before he's played. Not when he's won on every level. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
as a guy who's been that successful as a player, let him play.
There are those who question his pass accuracy as being something that would impede his progress in the Broncos winning.
Well, those who question him never had on a jockstrap or a chin strap.
You're right.
Let him play. Let him play. He'll figure it out. I saw him in a game against San Diego where he hit Brandon Lloyd on the sideline, hit a guy in the belly in the end zone where he won the game. 3 plays. I mean, the accuracy I saw him play, the guy dropped his ball.
Paul Hornung told us before he got drafted he should be the first pick in the draft. He goes, because this guy could run, he's big, he could do it all. Who cares if he's accurate?
That's right. That's what Paul Hornung is absolutely right. And I talked with Tom Coughlin. I'm at Tom Coughlin's function down in Sawgrass down in Jacksonville. And Tom came over to me at his dinner and said, Floyd, the Broncos made a heck of a pick when they picked Tim Tebow. I said, why is that? He says, I don't have the time to prepare for him, to defend against him in a 2 to 3 day practice schedule. I can't defend him. And that's why he's so valuable, because you can't put together a defense to defend him. He's got too many weapons. So I would hate to have to defend him. This is a guy who's a successful coach in the National Football League. You're saying, that's a hell of a pick, because I can't defend him. And yet, you don't even play him.
Exactly. We got to get going. We got our next guest coming after break, Charlie Hennigan, another guy that people had trouble defending back in the day.
Okay. Very good, guys.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Little.
Oh, my problem.
Your problem,
my
yes.
pleasure. My pleasure, guys.
Thank you.